Hello everybody, it's Bangkok Ian here. Quick video here for Halloween. Video response to my good friend Daron, aka Walking the Cow. He did a really great Halloween movie video the other week. I think just over this weekend, I believe. And yeah, I really liked the questions, so I thought I'll do a VR for that. So here we go. Written them down, so here we go. Question 1, what was your first horror film? Now, I guess it would have to, probably the truthful answer would be the 1930s King Kong movie. But I only remember bits of that. I remember seeing it when I was 4 or 5, one of my earliest memories. But the first proper horror film that I watched all the way through would have to be 1978's Dawn of the Dead. George Romero's classic zombie movie set in the mall. Absolutely brilliant film. Yeah, my first proper horror film. I've never really seen gore since then. I hadn't seen The Omen. And yeah, when you're seeing bits bitten off people and oh god, scared the crap out of me. Probably my first X-rated movie that I ever saw. I saw it on V2000 video. Remember that old, you probably won't, in one of the earliest video formats there was a V2000, VHS and Beta. V2000 definitely came last. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead was my first horror film and it's still got a great place in my heart. Still to this day one of my all-time favourite horror films. So that's that one. Question 2, 3 of your favourite horror films. First one, Event Horizon, a classic space gothic horror movie, which I believe is going to get a TV series from Amazon next year. And ooh, yeah, I love the premise. I love the movie with Sam Neill and what's it, the guy from The Matrix, Martin Lawrence. I can't remember his name. I've had a few beers, so there we go. Yeah, absolutely brilliant film. Love the effects, love the premise. Absolutely amazing movie. It scared the crap out of me. I saw it in the cinema, and there was one shot where it pulled back and it rotated the camera over the space station. And I actually felt really queasy because it had such a great motion effect. Story was great, acting was great, an all-round great movie. Second of the 3, Stephen King's 1408. Absolutely brilliant film, Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack. Again, this really scared me as well. All set, well, mostly set in one hotel room, supposedly scared, a haunted hotel. Holy crap, is it haunted? Holy crap, is it scary? Absolutely amazing horror film. Again, there's not many movies these days that actually scare me. 1408 did. It's all in the mind as well. This absolutely amazing horror film. Love it to bits. The third is In the Mouth of Madness, John Carpenter's classic horror film from the 90s. Again, very, very, very scary. Very Lovecraftian, very Stephen Kingian. Again, Sam Neill's in it as well, and Jürgen Prochnow, and yeah. Again, very, very scary, very, very clever. The tricks it pulls, brilliant. I believe that's his third of his Apocalypse trilogy, and I wish he'd revisit that genre again because he's an absolute master in it. So yeah, In the Mouth of Madness is my third of the 3. Okay, question number 3. What was the last horror film you saw? It's a toss-up. I can't remember which one. It would have to be the remake of The Invisible Man that came out earlier in the year, or Doctor Sleep. Both really great horror films. I can't remember which one I saw last. I think it may have been the director's cut of Doctor Sleep. I think I saw Doctor Sleep first, then Invisible Man, but there was an extra long edition of Doctor Sleep released a couple of months ago, and the director's cut of Doctor Sleep is excellent. I love the original Doctor Sleep. I love the book. It's Stephen King's sequel to The Shining. It stars Danny Torrance, the little kid who was in The Shining. He's all grown up now, and in the movie he's played by Ewan McGregor, and it's a very clever movie. And I believe I never read the original Shining, but apparently the movie and the book are very different thematically and tonally, and the movie strikes a really good balance between both versions. It looks very Stanley Kubrick with the set design and how it looks, but story wise it's more in tune with Stephen King's novel, and I absolutely love that movie. And again, if you can catch the director's cut, which is like about 3.5 hours long, excellent story, brilliant acting, brilliant special effects, and it's got like a really interesting take on vampires. All the main villains seem very vampiric in their origins, and I really like that, and I love how it ties in with The Shining. Just an all-around great movie. So yeah, Doctor Sleep, the director's cut, is probably the last proper horror film. That's all. Horror sequel you like a lot. This is easy. This is probably the horror sequel that I watch most, and it's Exorcist 3. Love the original Exorcist. Hated 2, Heretic. I've got a soft spot for those two, for Exorcist 4, 5, both remade at about the same time, because they made the original Exorcist 4 and they thought it was a disaster, so they remade the entire movie. But Exorcist 3, wow, if you've never seen it, watch it. I believe it's directed by Peter Blatty, who wrote the original Exorcist. It's more of a horror stroke police procedural, and it's got so many great touches, such a brilliant screenplay. If you want to know more about it, watch Red Letter Media's appraisal of Exorcist 3. It's such a brilliant movie, so clever, and it really scares you. It really gets to me. I prefer it over the original Exorcist. It's certainly one I can watch more. I love the original Exorcist, but it is slightly dated these days. But Exorcist 3 is not dated at all. And the acting, George C. Scott, oh my God. And Brad Dourif, oh bloody hell. It's an amazing horror sequel. One of the best horror movies ever made. So yeah, Exorcist 3 is my favourite all-time horror sequel. A horror film I saw at the cinema. One of the scariest films I ever saw at the cinema. 1985, 1986. The original Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember I just started uni in London, and one of the first films I ever saw in a really big screen was one of the Leicester Square cinemas. In those days, you know, if you wanted to watch a movie, you had to go to Leicester Square, because that's where all the really big screens were. That's where all the best sound design were. And it was amazing, absolutely. I think it was the Empire Theatre I saw it at. Yeah, I think it was the Empire. So yeah, watching the original Nightmare on Elm Street, one of Wes Craven's all-time classic movies, the film that introduced Freddy Krueger to the world. Watching that for the first time scared the crap out of me. Still to this day, there's so few movie villains that are so fleshed out as Freddy Krueger, because from the very first moment you saw him, you know everything about it. You know he was absolutely merciless, relentless, not an easy villain to stop, you know. So imaginative, so scary, such a brilliant movie. absolutely scared the shit out of me. I was 18 when I saw it. Wow, it was brilliant. Okay, favourite comedy horror. Well, there's lots I could choose for, but one that springs to mind is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Again, a really, really clever horror movie stroke comedy. It stars these two rednecks. One of them is played by Alan, I don't know how to say his last name, Alan Tudyk or whatever. He was in Firefly, and he was in lots and lots of great TV series. He was in too many TV shows and movies to count, but he's a great actor. Very, 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 very brilliant. And this is very clever. Stars as these two yokel boys who have a run-in with these city folks who were just there for like a break in the woods, and lots of misunderstandings, lots of gore, and basically Tucker and Dale are the good guys and the college kids are the bad guys, but it's all down to different points of view. It's very, very funny, it's very gory, it's very, very good. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. It's very good. Okay, favourite Stephen King adaptation. There's loads I could choose for, but again, I'm choosing one that I saw back in the day in the cinema, and it would have to be David Cronenberg's Dead Zone. Came out in the mid-80s. Again, I remember watching this in the cinema. Stars Christopher Walken, it stars Martin Sheen, based on this guy who gets in an accident, and if he touches you, you can see how you're going to die, and by that you can also guess what the future's going to be. Absolutely brilliant story. One of my favourite Cronenberg movies. I absolutely love it. The TV series that came out was also good, and I'm surprised it's not been remade, you know, because it's such a great story. And I think he will get a remake in the next couple of years, because it's one of his best, I think, you know. And there's like a really, really chilling serial killer bit in the middle where you don't know who the serial killer is, and yeah, just an all-around great movie, great story. I think it's one of Christopher Walken's best performances. It's an excellent movie. So what's next? Question 8. A horror remake, reboot that you like. Oh, there's so many I could choose for. I almost went for John Carpenter's The Thing, but I think a lot of people are going to choose that. So I'm going for the 1978 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's Philip Kaufman. He got a really great take on the paranoia aspect of it. I love the 50s version, and I also like the 90s version, which was set on the army base. But the 1978, 1979, that version with Donald Sutherland and Leonard Nimoy. Again, the paranoia that movie gets you. Very, very clever. One of my all-time favourite remakes, because they made a trashy 50s B movie into something a lot cleverer. And I love the ending where you got Donald Sutherland doing this. Brilliant film. Again, just for the paranoia that it induces. Still to this day I watch it at least once a year. It's a brilliant reboot stroke remake. Number 9, favourite black and white horror. Ooh. This was tricky because I do like my black and white movies, but I thought I'd be a bit clever, and I'm going to go for Frank Darabont's The Mist, but the black and white version. I love The Mist. I read the short story. I think, was it in different seasons? The Stephen King collection. I read the original short story when it came out, and I was really psyched that Frank Darabont was going to make it into a movie. And I was really pleased when he said he's got a black and white movie. I saw it in the cinema. That was colour, and it was all right. But I really think the black and white version of The Mist really works, because it's not the biggest budget movie. but how they use the black and white, all the black and white grading, it works really well with the special effects, and it's a lovely creature feature, and I love the ending of it. It's so nihilistic. It's great. Thomas Jane, absolutely brilliant in it. Oh, the whole cast are great in it. Yeah, so I'm going for the black and white version of The Mist. The final version, final question: a horror film you disliked? This one was pretty simple actually, and it's the recent remake of It. Now, I loved the It Part 1 that came out around 3 or 4 years ago. That was fantastic. Really captured Stephen King's story, and I liked. I didn't say I loved it. I liked the miniseries, and I loved the It Part 1 movie, and I was psyched to watch It Part 2. But they completely went overboard in it. It Part 1 was all about the kids, and It Part 2 was about the adults. And because what I think happened was, I thought because It Part 1 made so much money and they hadn't made Part 2 yet, they basically tried to remake Part 1 and Part 2 at the same time. So what you got was like a 3-hour movie where you had all the same kids going through pretty much the same situations, and then you had the same story with the adults. And now if they'd made it just the second half of the book and cut out a lot of the bump, it would have been a lot more effective. And it was just a wasted opportunity, because I love Stephen King's It, but they just blew it with Part 2. They really blew it. So there we go. That's my 10 Halloween questions. Really enjoyed making it. Thanks, Daron, for the great video. Thanks. Cheers.